Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Respected viewers of Imam Hussein TV, I would like to greet you all with the warmest of Islamic greetings, and that is none other than Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As you know, this blessed month is the month of Sha'aban, a month where many people around the world have come to visit Karbala in honor of the birth date of the heroes of Karbala, the birth dates which include Imam Hussein alayhi salam, of Abbas alayhi salam, and perhaps one of the most important birth dates in Islamic history, and that is none other than Imam Mahdi ajralahu ta'ala faraja sharif. Joining us tonight once again, Sayed Hossein al Qazwini. Assalamu alaikum, dear Sayyid.
Rahmatullah.
Now, dear viewers, for those of you who weren't able to tune in last night, we did cover the concept of worship and the necessity worship is for us humans, and why is it so important for us to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the first place. For those who missed the show, the lectures, the discussions have been uploaded on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Imam Hussein TV3. Tonight we will be continuing that topic, and we are going to go a bit more in depth on the subject. But before we begin, Sayyid, I just wanted to ask you if it would be possible for you to send our salams to Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his loyal brother Abu Fadl Abbas.
That'd be an honor to do so.
Thank you very much.
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أخيه أبي الفضل العباس جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Peace be upon you, O Master of Martyrs. Peace be upon you, O the loyal brother of Hussein alayhi salam.
أحسنت.
Welcome back, respected viewers. As you know, we are joined here by Sayed Hossein al Qazwini. Once again, he has graciously offered to come over the past few nights and really teach us a lot about our religion and teach us a lot about the heroes of Karbala, who these people were and why it's important to know these people. So thank you very much, Sayyidina, for coming down to the channel.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Shukran. Thank you very much, Sayyidina. It's an honor to be in your presence as always. As you know, we were talking about the concept of worship, and for those of you who missed this topic, you can find this discussion from last night on our YouTube channel, and that is www.youtube.com/Imam Hussein TV, Imam Hussein 3 TV. So please tune in if you guys have missed it. It's a very good precursor to tonight's discussion as well. Now, to get right into the topic, Sayyidina, a lot of people, when it comes to worship, a lot of times it becomes a routine. For example, salat, we pray 5 times a day, and a lot of times some people don't even understand what they're saying. It just becomes random movements of the mouth, oscillating, and we just do it as a day-to-day activity, as if it's a chore almost. What is your response to this? Is this the way it's supposed to be for worship?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. The things that we do on a daily basis, which are called routines, they have 2 aspects to them. All routines have 2 aspects. The first aspect is that routines are easy. It's nothing new. You've done it before. In fact, you've done it yesterday and the day before and the day before that. You've done it every day. So it's not something new. It's something very easy for you to do, like going to work, driving, taking a shower, having that meeting in the morning with your boss and the rest of the employees. This is a routine. It's very easy because you've done it before.
It's robotic almost.
It's robotic. Second, which is the most robotic effect, is that with a routine, is that sometimes it happens involuntarily. You don't pay attention when you do it. Because you've done it so many times, it happens automatically. For example, some people get into the shower and they shower for 15 minutes. They probably they're not thinking about what they're doing. Automatically, things happen. They wash their hair first, they brush their teeth, and then everything that happens, it happens automatically. They're not even thinking about it. Perhaps the whole time they were singing, their mind was somewhere else. They were daydreaming. But when they're done, they see that, yeah, they did everything they have to do in the shower, wash their hair, their body, brush their teeth, so on and so forth. This means it's become a routine. For some people driving, when you drive to work every day, you don't need to think about taking the next exit or making a left here or making a right there. It happens automatically. Even if you're thinking about something else, it just happens automatically, involuntarily, because that's what a routine does. Now, believers pray 5 times a day, every day. And prayer is not to be missed, not a single day. The problem is when salah also becomes a routine, something that you just have to do, a chore that you have to do. The problem is, it becomes easy, that's not the problem. Let salah become easy. The first aspect of a routine, it's not bad for it to become easy. The problem is when you start praying involuntarily, not paying attention to salah. Thus, for most of us, salah is a routine. From the minute we say Allahu Akbar to the second we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, we have no idea what just happened. What did I just say? What did I just read? How many rak'ahs did I pray? Was it 3 or 4, 4 or 5,
Yeah.
5 or 7? We don't know how many rak'ahs. Why? Because our mind is completely somewhere else. Because we did it involuntarily, because it's become a routine. That's the problem. This is a danger for the believers. This is not a problem for those who don't pray, because it's not even a routine for them. This is a problem for those that pray on a daily basis. This is one of the problems, that when it becomes a routine, salah loses its beauty. Well, does that mean that we should not pray and neglect worship? Absolutely not. Religion has found us solutions. One, make a niyyah for salah. That is why scholars concentrate on niyyah. Before you pray Salatul Dhuhr, make the intention. The intention is very necessary. You can't just stand up, face the Qibla, and say Allahu Akbar and enter prayer. No, you have to know what you're doing. You have to make the intention.
Now,
Tell yourself this.
Does this have to be out loud, or?
It doesn't have to be out loud, no. And it could be in your heart. As long as you tell yourself that I'm praying Salatul Dhuhr for the sake of Allah, qurbatan Allah Ta'ala, this helps concentrate. This helps realize what you're doing. The concept of niyyah. That's why all of our acts of worship, they have to have niyyah. Khums, zakat, hajj. Hajj, all the little aspects about hajj. The tawaf, the sa'i, even cutting the hair, stoning the jamara, slaughtering the sheep. All of this requires niyyah, so that nothing occurs involuntarily. Second, there's so much emphasis on concentration on salah. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون. Those that concentrate in their salah, those who realize what they're saying, those who pay attention to their words. So many hadith. In fact, there's a hadith that says we will only receive the reward according to amount of time that we concentrated during salah. If we concentrated for 50% of the time, we'll receive 50% of the thawab. 80% of the reward. Nothing, we won't receive any reward. Yes, we don't need to do the salah again. We don't need to repeat it again. But on the Day of Judgment, when we go, we'll find out that there was no reward whatsoever.
I once heard someone ask in a Q&A, they said, do we get a sin because we're not paying attention in our prayers? And the scholar, he said, you won't get a sin, but you don't receive the benefits of it either. So just because you've done it as a routine, you've kept your wajibat, but you haven't received the reward, or even we say Imam Ali alayhi salam received most of his knowledge through his salat. He didn't receive that spirituality that you...
Ahsant. The Quran says, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ. Prayer gives immunity against sinning.
Ahsant.
It gives you that sort of immunity, that sense of will, so that you don't sin. Most of us, we don't feel it. Maybe many people say, well, I pray, but then I could easily go and turn on the radio and listen to music. How come my salah doesn't give me immunity? The reason is because how are you praying? There's a difference. If you concentrate in your prayer, in your salah, you realize what you're saying. When you put your forehead, you actually submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in humiliation. You're telling Allah that I put the most honorable part of my body for you, I put it on the ground. At the end, this sort of salah will have an effect. Yes, this sort of salah gives immunity, but not our salah that has absolutely no concentration, and we don't gain anything from it.
Ahsant. Now, a lot of times people are asked, they ask the question, why is it that we have to worship, and what motives should we have in worshiping? What is our response to that?
Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Imam Ali alayhi salam, has a very beautiful hadith. He summarizes why people worship. It's very beautiful. He says, إن قوما عبدوا الله طمعا في جنته وتلك عبادة التجار. There are some people that worship Allah because of paradise. The only reason why they worship is because there's a paradise. So if it wasn't for paradise, they wouldn't worship. Amir al-Mu'mineen says this is the worship of merchants. They give something to Allah and they want something in return.
Give and take.
Give and take. If Allah doesn't offer them something, they won't offer Him prayer. Even though Allah, like we said a couple of nights ago, Allah doesn't benefit from our worship. And He says, وَإِنَّ قَوْمًا عَبِدُوا اللَّهَ خَوْفًا مِنْ نَارِهِ وَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةُ الْعَبِيدِ. And there are some people that worship Allah out of fear of hellfire. And this is the worship of slaves, because they're afraid. Slaves, how do you get a slave to comply with your rules?
Crack the whip.
By whipping, by punishing. Amir al-Mu'mineen says this is the worship of a slave, a person who wouldn't worship if it wasn't for hellfire. Because he knows there's a hellfire, he worships. Otherwise he wouldn't worship. There's the worship of a slave. And then he says in the third group, وَإِنَّ قَوْمًا عَبِدُوا اللَّهَ شُكْرًا وَتِلْكَ عِبَادَةُ الْأَحْرَارِ. And there are some people that worship Allah out of gratitude. Out of gratitude, to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what He's given them, for all the gifts, the big and the small gifts in their lives. And this is the worship of free men.
Ahsant.
He himself states regarding his worship, he basically says the same thing, that some people worship Allah because of interest in His paradise, and this is the worship of merchants. There are those who worship Allah out of fear of hellfire. This is the worship of slaves. And then he says, وَإِنِّي مَا عَبَدْتُكَ حِينَ عَبَدْتُكَ خَوْفًا مِنْ نَارِكَ وَلَا طَمَعًا فِي جَنَّتِكَ وَإِنَّمَا وَجَدْتُكَ أَهْلًا لِلْعِبَادَةِ فَعَبَدْتُكَ. He says, oh Allah, I found you worthy of being worshipped, so I worshipped you.
And they value their own existence.
They value their own existence. And basically he's saying, oh Allah, I worship you because you are you and I am me. Because we have this relationship, the Creator and the creation. Obviously the creation should worship the Creator. It's part of our relationship. What do you expect from this relationship? The creation has to worship the Creator. The creation is in need of the Creator. The creation is in need of the Creator in His existence and in remaining existent. In remaining in existence, to come to existence and to remain in existence. We're in need of the Creator. It makes sense. If we didn't need to worship, this wouldn't make sense. Allah created us and we don't need to worship Him? That wouldn't make sense. Beautiful answer by Imam Ali alayhi salam. وَجَدْتُكَ أَهْلًا لِلْعِبَادَةِ. I found you worthy of being worshipped, so I worshipped you. This is a lesson for us, that when we worship, don't worship because of heaven and hell. Pretend as if heaven and hell doesn't exist. Yeah. For many people, we have a teacher. He would tell my teacher in Najaf, he would tell us, don't teach your children, don't scare your children from hellfire at a young age. Don't do this because Allah will throw you in hellfire. Don't do this, don't say this, don't eat that, don't do this because of hellfire. Why do you scare them from Allah at a young age? Teach them why they should do this. Give them the explanation, not just because of hellfire, or not just because of heaven. For most of us, we were raised thinking, I pray because if I pray, there's heaven, and if I don't, there's hell. Well, let's pretend there was no heaven and hell.
A child can't even fathom what heaven and hell is,
No,
so why would you?
No, absolutely not. Even as grown-ups, we're always thinking of heaven and hell. I'll do this because of heaven, and I won't do that because of hell. Well, let's pretend that there wasn't heaven and hell. That means I don't owe anything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no duties towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who will still pray, even if they pretend there is no heaven and hell, these are true worshippers. These are true servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That was a beautiful answer, Sayyidina. Thank you very much for sharing that narration from Imam Ali alayhi salam. It really highlights the state of our ummah today, because you will find people of all shapes and sizes, and you look at a child, you say, why are you praying? He says, I don't want to go to hell. I myself had this, this notion in my head when I was a teenager. I used to say, I'm going to do the bare minimum not to go to hell. And of course I grew up and I realized, there's more fruits to this religion than just not going to go to hell.
Excellent.
So I started embracing. Another time I remember, if you don't mind me sharing this story with you, Sayyidina,
sure.
A child came up to me. He said, I'm fed up with praying salat and stuff. And I asked him, I said, let's say you passed away right now. Do you have any regrets in this life? And he thinks about it. He says, I didn't get to go to McDonald's and have a burger. I said, what, if that's going to complete your life, let's go to McDonald's, have your burger. He said, I didn't get to have pepperoni on my pizza. Just a childish response. At the end, I said, the more you think about it, do you really have any regrets? He says, I don't. I said, look, you won't have any regrets in this life, and hereafter Allah will even reward you with paradise. So it's almost like a win-win.
Nice.
A beautiful life, and
absolutely.
So I think if we really see this is the only way to live, and the most fruitful way to live, and most complete way to live, I think that's the essence of that hadith, in my 2 cents worth.
Excellent.
Now, Sayyidina, a lot of times people don't realize the result of prayer. They get confused, and why does Allah need my prayer? Why is it so important for me to pray 5 times a day? What is our response to this?
Salah, of course, with its conditions, among its conditions is the concentrating on your salah, fulfilling all the conditions, has a lot of results. One result is that it connects you to the next life. It connects you to the next life. It makes you realize that this life is not it, as we talked about a couple of minutes ago. This life is not it. There's another life, a more worthier life to live in. And it gives you a sense of sacrifice, a sense of you belittle yourself, not in the sense that you disrespect yourself, but you think that you humble yourself. Yes. That who am I in this amazing universe? Or basically, to put it in better words, is that you begin to feel that life does not revolve around you, but there is a bigger picture, that there's a bigger goal in this life. Salah has a lot of effects. To highlight something that occurred in history, Umar ibn al-Khattab, during his time in power, he was known for the big conquests and expansions. And in order to encourage people to join these conquests and to join the military, he thought that the best way to encourage them is to take away Hayya ala khair al-amal from the adhan. Hayya ala khair al-amal means rush onto the best of deeds. The best of deeds. Umar said, well, okay, if salah is the best of deeds, people are going to sit at home and pray all day and all night, and they're not going to come for jihad. They're not going to come for jihad. So let's take this out. As-salatu hayya ala khair al-amal. Let's take this out. And of course he replaced it with as-salatu khairun min an-nawm. Prayer is better than sleeping for morning prayers. Let's take this section out, Hayya ala khair al-amal, so that people will be more encouraged to pray. I think this is a person who doesn't realize the essence of salah. To take this out, that salah rush onto the best of deeds, to think that salah will be incompatible with jihad, that there's some form of contradiction. This is a person that doesn't understand salah. It was the Muslims before him that established Islam and led the other conquests and sacrificed so much.
Yes.
Where did their sense of sacrifice, where did their faith come from? Was it not from salah? Was it not from the salah that was ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and by Rasulullah, and that connection was formed? It was salah that gives them that sense of sacrifice, that sense of fighting for their faith. In the salah we recite, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. It is you whom we worship, and it is you whom we seek assistance from. It is in salah that we say Allahu Akbar, and we put everything behind us and we concentrate only on Allah and what Allah asks for us. This is a person that, to say the least, doesn't understand the essence of salah. Why was salah was ordained? If it wasn't for salah, jihad would not have been there. Jihad would not have existed. The hadith says, as-salatu amududdin. Salah is the pillar of faith. A person that doesn't pray, believe me, he will not go and perform jihad. Nor will he fast, nor will he pay khums. It's all about salah. Salah is the first test.
And if
the
anything,
first test of a belief.
The most important jihad is the one that you have with yourself, not
jihad al-nafs.
Jihad al-nafs, as the Prophet said.
No,
I also recall a narration I once heard, is that, I don't know if it was reported by Malik al-Ashtar or someone heard it from Malik al-Ashtar. He said, I was in the battlefield with Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam, and when I was looking at him fight, he kept staring up at the sun. So I said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, what are you doing? Why do you look in front of you? He didn't realize that Imam Ali has eyes everywhere. But he said, why are you looking up? He says, I'm checking if it's salah time. He says, why? We're in a battlefield. He says, then why are we here then? What is the point of fighting if it's not for salah?
For salah.
Yeah.
The same when Imam Hussein alayhi salam, when the battle was in the battlefield,
Yes.
here in Karbala, when one of his companions tells him, Ya Aba Abdullah, qad hana waqt al-salah, he tells him that, Ya Aba Abdullah, it is time for salah. The Imam praises him and he prays for him. He tells him, you remembered salah, may Allah bring you on the day of judgment with those who pray. Hasharak Allah ma'al, ja'alak Allah min al-musallin, or hasharak Allah ma'al musallin. And he stood and he prayed in the middle of the battlefield. This is what the Ahlulbayt teach us. That the real fight is about salah. It's not about us coming to power. It's not about personal issues. It's about salah. It's about worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's about who worships and who doesn't worship Allah.
Beautifully said, Sayyidina. Now, this is a very generic question, and I'm sure you get this asked a lot. And it's a very tough question to answer. People oftentimes says, how much worship is enough worship? And what's too much? Because, right now, if we look in our ummah, there's like the 30-day Muslim. The guy becomes religious for 30 days in Ramadan, and then, Allah goes back to sleep for them for the next
40 days Muslims.
Then there's 10 days of Muharram as well. And then there's maybe the 2-month Muslim with the Arba'in included, They're all over the place. So
they're increasing day by day, alhamdulillah. The days are increasing.
Inshallah, they'll become the 12-month Muslims like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained for us. But what is too much and what is too little? Well, can we find the balance in between this?
Sure. Worship is something definitely recommended. For example, in salah, we have a hadith that says, "As-salatu khayru mawdu', faman sha'a istaqalla wa man sha'a istakthar." Salah is the best form of worship, or is the best deed. Whoever wants to do little, he could do little, and whoever wants to do a lot can do a lot. The more the merrier, as we say. However, Islam didn't say that sit and worship from morning till night, abandon your life, don't go to work, abandon your wife, abandon your children, go to the masjid, sit in the mihrab, fast all day, and worship all day. Islam didn't say this. Once Rasulullah saw two brothers. One would fast all day and pray all day, and the other would work and make a living for himself and for his brother who would worship all day.
Mm-hmm.
When Rasulullah saw them, he said the one who works, he's the real worshipper, not the other one.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of this worship while you make others make a living for you? You're making others suffer. Your wife and children and your family gets to suffer because you're worshiping. What sort of worship is this? This is a selfish form of worship. This is one. Thus, Islam doesn't say that you need to worship all day. Two, you see, we need, Islam put desired results for worship.
Yes.
Worship has to be, should have manifested results. Now, it's not about the quantity. If a person worships for 6 hours but hasn't been concentrating on dua or worship, what good is that? But sometimes maybe 20 minutes of dua, a person can connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than those 6 hours. These 20 minutes are more fruitful and beneficial than those 6 hours. Let me give you an example. Do you work out, Brother Hadi? I think you work out. Obviously,
yes,
you work out. Like I do too.
Yes, I can do
that. In working out, I know about this. Obviously not from experience, but I've heard a person could do two hours or 3 hours of exercise.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean he's doing the right form of exercise.
Yes.
Maybe a 20-minute workout or a 30-minute workout, if you do the right workout, if you do the right exercises, can be more fruitful than 2 hours or 3 hours. It's about how you do it. It's not about how much you do, but how you do it.
Yes.
This is in the gym. When it comes to nutrition as well, when it comes to nutrition,
You can starve yourself for days, but
you can starve for yourself for days, or you could eat a lot of food, but that doesn't mean you're going to be healthy. And what's important is what you eat, the healthy food that you eat, even if it's little. Doesn't matter how much you eat in order to gain energy and be healthy. You could eat a lot, but it won't give you the energy that a little bit of healthy food could give you. You could eat a lot of junk food, but perhaps one banana or one apple might be more beneficial and healthier than a bunch of, I don't know, potato chips or whatever.
And ideally, you'd find the most healthiest people are the ones that eat in moderation. They don't stay away from one type of food. They have a little bit of everything, and they don't overindulge into other.
Ahsant. It's the same thing with worship. Islam doesn't say worship for 2 hours straight or read Quran for 5 hours endlessly. Islam says when you read Quran, pay attention. Pay attention to your recitation. Make the most of it, even if it's a little. It's little dosage. That little dosage can be very, very beneficial. Or salat. Your salat doesn't have to be extended for 1 hour, and in your qunut, you don't have to recite Dua Abu Hamza or Dua Kumail. No. But what you recite, think about it, let it come from the heart. This 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes can be more beneficial than the 2 hours. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam was once sitting with a group of his companions. He said there was a Muslim.
Yes.
Have you heard this story? I don't know if I've...
Maybe.
He says that there was a Muslim who had a neighbor, a Christian neighbor. They had discussions, they had debates. The Christian neighbor became a Muslim. He converted to Islam because of his Muslim neighbor. Now that he became a Muslim, the following day, his neighbor came and woke him up 30 minutes before dawn. And he said, now that you're a Muslim, you have to come and pray. You have to come to the masjid. So he took him 30 minutes before Fajr. They went and they prayed Salat al-Layl. And then it was time for dawn. But he said, wait, we can't pray now. We have to wait 15 minutes as a precaution to make sure that it's dawn. And then we pray. They prayed dawn after 15 minutes. The man was about to leave. He said, no, it's highly discouraged to sleep in between dawn and sunrise. So let's remain in the masjid and let's recite Quran. They remained until sunrise. He told them, well, we shouldn't rush back home. It's your first day as a Muslim. Get acquainted with the mosque. Let's pray a little bit, recite Quran. He kept them till dhuhr, till noon. When they prayed noon, he told them Asr is in just about an hour and a half. They waited till Asr. And then he told them, well, we haven't had breakfast nor lunch. Let's make the intention of fasting today. So they fasted. They remained till Maghrib. He kept them till Isha that day. He said and then after Isha, the Muslim man went to his house and the newly Muslim convert went back to his house. The next day, he went to wake him up again 30 minutes before Fajr. The man refused. He said, listen, I went back to Christianity and I am no longer a Muslim. If this is the Islam that you practice, then I don't want to be a Muslim. What do you think I am? I have nothing to do. You want me to spend my entire day inside the masjid, inside a mosque? Imam Sadiq, he tells his companions, he said, don't be like this person who got his neighbor to convert into Islam and he got him to abandon Islam.
Desensitize him, yeah.
He said, don't make people hate Islam because of this. Worship and moderation. Islam says worship, but at the same time go and make a living, go spend your time with your wife, with your children, go and relax, sleep. You don't need to spend your entire day in the mosque.
Now, how can we correlate this to the worship of Ahlulbayt alayhi salam? Were they also moderate in their worship as well, or were they the ones that stayed up and prayed Salat al-Layl and asked Allah to forgive the Ummah, etc.?
The Ahlulbayt, they're a different story. Yes, their worship was excessive. However, it was done from the heart. If any person felt what the Ahlulbayt would feel, they would have done the same. For example, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would spend 3/4 of the night praying Salat al-Layl, standing on his feet. In fact, some narrations say that he would stand on his tiptoes. He wouldn't stand normally, he would stand on his tiptoes. Because he knew that's painful, he wanted to do it for the sake of Allah, to show him that I'll stand on my toes just to worship you. Until Allah revealed the verse, Taha ma anzalna alayka al-Qur'an tashqa. Taha is one of the names of Rasulullah.
Yes.
Taha, we didn't reveal the Qur'an upon you so that you may drain yourself. No, pray an ordinary prayer. You don't need to stand on your tiptoes. Rasulullah would not abandon Salat al-Layl, nor did the Imams. And during the battle of Siffin, one night was called Laylat al-Harir. In that night, it was a very cold night. The battle between Imam Ali's army and Muawiyah's army dragged until the morning. Even that night, Amir al-Mu'mineen prayed Salat al-Layl on such a night. Same goes for the rest of the Ahlulbayt. Their worship was on another level. Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam would enter Masjid al-Haram. He would hold the cloth of the Kaaba, and he would shed his tears and cry and speak intimately to Allah. Tawus al-Yamani was a well-known figure. Told him, Ya Ali ibn Hussein, you're the grandson of Rasulullah, and you're crying, you're begging Allah for mercy. Then what should people like me do?
SubhanAllah.
And you're the grandson of Rasulullah. Imam Zayn al-Abidin said his famous quote. He said, Ya Tawus, Allah created heaven even if you're a black man from Abyssinia. And Allah created hell even if you're a Sayyid from Quraysh. Don't tell me who my grandfather is and who my father is. It's all about actions. What your actions are. Doesn't matter on the Day of Judgment, it doesn't matter who your father and mother is. They're not going to ask you about your mother and father. They're going to ask you about your actions. Beautiful. Beautiful advice, a beautiful teaching from Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam. Imam Ali, when we read Dua Kumail, we truly see the worship of Imam Ali in Dua Kumail. When he says, my Lord, my greatest form of punishment, if you want to punish me, it's not about throwing me in hellfire. Throwing me in hellfire is not a punishment for me. But it's being in hellfire and knowing that you don't love me. That's the greatest punishment for me. Knowing that you've shunned me away from your mercy and you don't wish to hear my voice, that's the greatest form of punishment. This is worship. This is the worship of Ahlul Bayt. They knew how to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They knew how to have these intimate discourses with the Ahlul Bayt. That is why we benefit from their supplications. I encourage my brothers and sisters, if you have a desire, read the du'as of Ahlul Bayt. If you'd like to repent to Allah, read what Imam Zayn al-Abidin had to say. If you'd like rizq, if financially you're not doing so well, see what the Ahlul Bayt have said about it. Whatever it is, the Ahlul Bayt have left some form of du'a and supplication for our problems.
And I don't think any other religion can say that they have this intricacy in their supplications like the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam left for us.
No, whatsoever. How many minutes do we have?
I am not sure right now.
A couple of years ago, I was in Michigan. I was in Dearborn, Michigan. I was at the Islamic Center of America, the largest center in
gorgeous.
America.
I've been there.
My older brother is the Imam of the center. The Catholic cardinal in the area, Cardinal Maida, who retired recently, came to visit the center. My older brother offered him the palms of David, the palms of Imam Zayn Abidin, Sahif al-Sajjadiyya.
The Psalms.
The Psalms of,
Yes.
we call it the Psalms of Islam.
Yes.
That's right, the P's non pronounced. So he gave it to him. Al-Sahif al-Sajjadiyya translated into English. Cardinal Maida took the book and he thanked my older brother. He left. A couple of months later, or maybe a couple of weeks later, when he met my brother, he said, "This is treasure. This is who is this? Who is this Zayn al-Abidin? Who is this Ali ibn Hussein?" So my brother told him about him. He said, "Do you know that since you gave me the book, I started taking excerpts from this dua and I mention it in my Sunday sermon to my congregation. But I don't tell them who it is. I just tell them these are divinely words, a man speaking to God. Even Catholics and Christians benefit from the words of Imam Zayn al-Abidin because he's a man who knows how to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not restricted to Islam.
Now, Sayyidina, I have been informed that we have about 5 minutes left on the show. What would you say with regards to the Ahlulbayt? Again, there's so much to talk about with these guys. Now, with the 5 minutes we have left, we can always say that these Imams were always in a state of, not worry, but in a state of worry, like to the extent that Imam Ali alayhi salam didn't know whether or not he was going to succeed until that final blow was given in the salat, to which he says, "Futhtu wa Rabbil Kaaba," I have succeeded by the Lord of the Kaaba. And what can we say? Because we call them infallible, right? So how can we tell others that these people were infallible, but they were always in a state of uneasiness because they didn't know whether or not they were going to succeed in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
You see, the Ahlulbayt alayhim salam, they were infallible. However, and they knew they are infallible, and they obviously know their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you're in love with someone, you know if that person loves you back or that person doesn't love you back. Obviously they know their status with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They know that they're not going to hell because they know they haven't done anything for them to go to hell. But at the same time, they're very careful. There's a saying that some scholars say, "Sayyi'atul Naam." In English, what it means is the sins of the awliya, of those that are very close to Allah, or the good deeds of normal people.
Interesting.
Let me give you an example. If I were to pray my regular prayers, Salat al-Maghrib, if it were to take 30 minutes, and I do all the mustahabbat, and I concentrate completely during the salah, for me, this is not a good salah. This is an amazing salah. This is the best salah that I've done in my life. But for Imam Zayn al-Abidin, the salah is shameful.
Adi.
The salah, no, it's not just the salah is shameful.
Yeah.
He would shun away from such a salah. He'd be embarrassed from such a salah. Thus we see that the Ahlul Bayt, they would always live in this sort of state, that I have shortcomings towards Allah.
They're not doing enough.
They're not doing enough. They always feel that they haven't done enough. Not in worship, not in recitation of Quran, not in humanitarian service, even though they've done so much, but always in their eyes, they haven't done anything. And we have a hadith that encourage a believer that in everything that you've done a lot. Not that, don't belittle yourself, but at the same time, don't think you've done anything towards Allah. No matter how much you've done, look at what Allah has given you. Have you done anything to return the favor? What have you done to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Even if you prayed Salat al-Layl, that takes 2 hours each night for the rest of your life, you still haven't returned anything towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
It reminds me of the story of Prophet Ayyub alayhi salam, where at the end of all the tests, he looks at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and says, "You put me through all this, and I still didn't forget about you. Have I done enough?" And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "You'll never be able to thank me," because you have to say Alhamdulillah for being able to say Alhamdulillah. You exist. What did you do to exist? So subhanAllah, thank you very much for putting that into context and really putting a cap on that misinterpretation, I guess, for some people. With that said, dear viewers, this does conclude our night with Sayed Hossein al Qazwini. Unfortunately, I wish we could still talk about this topic some more. Join us again over the next few nights, where we will be in the presence of our dear Sayyid, and we will continue to talk about Sha'aban and the people, the birth dates of these people, along with certain other topics that we hope to touch upon in this blessed night, in this blessed month. With that said, we want to also ask you guys to please stay tuned in the next 5 minutes, because we do have Sayyid Haider al Jezani coming in with his beautiful recitations for this month of Sha'aban. So once again, tune in the next 5 minutes. And with that said, we would like to bid our Sayyid farewell for tonight.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
غالي يا ابو السجاد حبك غالي غالي يا ابو السجاد حبك غالي يا ابو اليمه هويتك وسط قلبي جنيتك يا فرحة امنياتي يا فرحة امنياتي حبيبي وما نسيتك، ثمن غالي اشتريتك يا أغلى من حياتي، يا أغلى من حياتي. أدور واعتنيتك وسط روحي لقيتك، تطرز ذكرياتي، تطرز ذكرياتي. معروف حبك للأبد للتالي، رغم اللي يعادوني ورغم عذاني. معروف حبك للأبد للتالي، رغم اللي يعادوني ورغم عذاني. غالي 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 يا ابو السجاد، حبك غالي. انت الحبيب العايش بدلالي، غيرك بهذا الكون ما يحلالي. انت الحبيب العايش بدلالي، غيرك بهذا الكون ما يحلالي. غالي 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 يا ابو السجاد، حبك غالي. غالي يا ابو السجاد، حبك غالي. العشق قالوا مراحل، قلت امضي واواصل، درب شوقي وغرامي، درب شوقي وغرامي. جيت وقلبي شايل سحر كل الخمايل، سحر حبي وهيامي، سحر حبي وهيامي. صريح وما اجامل رغم كل العواذل، احبك يا امامي، احبك يا امامي. حبيتك وصوت الامل او حالي، حبك يا روح الروح غير حالي. حبيتك وصوت الامل او حالي، حبك يا روح الروح غير حالي. غالي 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 يا ابو السجاد، حبك غالي. انت الحبيب العايش بدلالي، غيرك بهذا الكون ما يحلالي. انت الحبيب العايش بدلالي، غيرك بهذا الكون ما يحلالي. غالي 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 يا ابو السجاد، حبك غالي. غالي يا ابو السجاد، حبك غالي. يا من حبك ضماني، ابد ما الك ثاني، ابد والباري يشهد، ابد والباري يشهد. بقلم شوقي وحناني كتبت صفحة اماني، فرح قلبي تجسد، فرح قلبي تجسد.
Welcome back, respected viewers. As you know, we are once again in the presence of Sayed Haider al Jezani. Assalamu alaikum, dear Sayyid. As you know, alhamdulillah, how are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah.
Yes. Now, Sayyid, you know, you weren't feeling too well earlier today. Are you feeling better now?
Alhamdulillah, much better.
Yeah?
You know, you can't feel not well for too long in this place. So
Yes, you know, they do give you the shafa'a very quick.
Very
Alhamdulillah.
quickly.
As you know, dear viewers, we are in the presence of Sayed Haider al Jezani. Over the past few nights, he has graced us with his beautiful voice. And once more tonight, he will be gracing us in honor of the shrines that are located in Iraq. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time talking. Let's get right into the recitations, dear Sayyid.
Iraq, Iraq, your beauty each golden shrine defines. I'm missing the scent of your beautiful shrines. A memory and daily I yearn for her. Seeing Kazim, the prince of Kazimiyya, wishing a return, my wishes I gather. The sight of two domes within my pupil shines.
Sant.
My hope shattered glass, my hope shattered glass. I collect every shard and present my years as a youth to Jawad, to gift toward he who beautifies Baghdad. For this city's beauty Jawad's hand designs. I misspelled sent, and a sight my tears shed. In each tear I see Sayyid Muhammad, recalling his visit on the tears I tread, adoring wishes coming true as his signs. I recall a dome whose voice screams to me in pain and cries, stay patient to the askari. By his last abode to Mahdi I complain, the last place he was seen, its painful confines. I ask myself why they saw it as worthless. By the Askariya Sayyida Narjis, beside two princes, buried a princess, gifted by the Lord to the best bloodline. I yearn for a place that its sights makes me weep. The sons of Muslim in Muslims' absence sleep, drenched in the tears of visitors that on them seep. They seek their father, the murderer declines.
Sant, that was beautiful. Wow.
Thank you very
Didn't think you could fit all that in one poem, but you touched on a little bit of everything there.
There is a quite more. It touches more of the shrines of Iraq, but
You want to recite it all, or are you gonna?
up to you. I don't mind.
You sure?
Yeah, I'll go for a carry
Let's
on.
go. I'd love to hear more.
Every day from the mosque of Kufa I hear the heart-wrenching call of Fajr calls to prayer. O Mukhtar and Muslim, Ali's death is near. Ali's head with Ibn Muljim sword aligns. Its presence a dream, a torture its absence, a kingdom where Ali, my crown, is its prince, recalling his scent, which lover keeps patient. The father of all, his golden shrine shrines. Years after his death, his presence I feel. The generous Abbas, father of zeal, return me to you, at your grave I'd kneel. My wishes I write, your generosity signs. And last but not least, the Mulla Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. My existence to a sole purpose returns. A mention of his name and him my heart yearns. When I hear Hussein, when I hear Hussein, to his grave my heart turns, and my invite to return Habib resigns.
Ahsant. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Beautiful recitation as usual, dear Sayyid.
Thank you.
To be honest, I'm speechless. I don't know what else to say.
Credit goes to Noor Sardar. This is a very beautiful poem. As soon as I read it, I was in tears straight away.
Yeah, I could tell it was from Nouri's. There's a touch he has with some of his
he has his
lyrics.
special touch.
Yes. Ahsant.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, dear viewers, that does conclude tonight's program. Join us again for the next few nights where we will be in the presence of dear Sayed Haider al Jezani, where he will continue to recite his beautiful poetry in English for us. I know, subhanAllah, it's very rare to find an English-speaking reciter like yourself recite English poetry in this manner, because it's very traditional and it really, springs the emotions within us. So, Ahsan, thank you very much, dear Sayyidina. So with that said, dear viewers, join us again tomorrow night, where we will continue with these recitations and discussions. And finally, we would like to end with the dua. Allahumma ajilla waliyaka al-faraj wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi al-tahirin wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.